Welcome back. In this module, I want to look at sex, gender, and sexuality from an anthropological perspective. Also, while working through this module, you should be thinking about your upcoming Cultural Borderlands ethnography assignment. By the end of this module, you should be able to demonstrate the following outcomes. Describe and analyze how gender, sexuality, and family structure have operated in the United States historically and at present. Utilize anthropological perspectives to analyze, interpret, and reflect on changing gender roles and sexualities in the United States, as well as your own gendered identities. Critically analyze and compare different experiences of gender and sexuality in the United States. The first film clip provides a brief introduction to sex, gender, and sexuality from the perspective of psychology. This presentation is useful to us in that it defines and provides examples of the following terms: sex, gender, masculinity and femininity, sexuality, including heterosexuality, homosexuality, and bisexuality, and transgender. These definitions serve as a useful starting point to an anthropological discussion of sex, gender, and sexuality. But while the clip acknowledges that gender and sexuality are socially constructed, the presenters conclude that psychology and neuroscience shape our sexuality. Anthropologists focus perhaps more on the social and cultural construction of gender and sexuality. The second clip, The Ultimate Anti-Gay Marriage Act, is a corny satire of those opposed to gay marriage. In particular, it ridicules arguments about the negative impact of gay marriage on heterosexual couples and parents. What kinds of stereotypes are being satirized in this brief clip? The third clip traces the evolution of Ryan Jacobs's transition through testosterone treatments during his transition from female to male. This film is being shown because it was recommended to me by a close family friend who's been going through the same treatments and same transition. The clip focuses on the physical transformation brought about by the hormone treatments, but also points to cultural issues of gender construction. Finally, clip 4 is second-generation Latina immigrant America Ferrara's speech at the Women's March on Washington on January 21st, 2017. I've included it here not for its overt political content, but because it points not only to gender and LGBTQ diversity, but to many kinds of diversity in the contemporary United States. It also reminds us how far apart we are on the politics of diversity in the U.S. There are two narrated presentations in this module. The first, divided into two parts, focuses on gender. The second, on sexuality. After looking at these materials, please take the quiz. You might also review the definitions in the first film clip, The Psychology of Sex, Gender, and Sexuality. There are two sets of readings and study questions in this module. The first includes a number of short readings on gender and sexuality. Claire Stirk's Tricking and Tripping provides a revealing and powerful account of Stirk's fieldwork among sex workers in New York and Atlanta during the crack and HIV epidemics of the 1990s. The particular focus of this article is perhaps less on gender per se than on the type of research Stirk was able to conduct as a woman field worker, as well as on the lives of the women she studied at a time when there was not yet a viable treatment option for HIV/AIDS. In It Hurts to Be a Girl, Growing Up Poor, White, and Female, Julia Hall examines the lives of working-class middle school girls in a post-industrial northeastern city. Hall explores these young women's desires to get good educations in order to escape from the domestic abuse and violence that are part of their everyday lives. At the same time, Hall notes that the girls themselves do not even report physical abuse, nor do their teachers in school. Here we see one way that class, gender, and violence intersect. In Poor Little Rich Women, anthropologist Wednesday Martin focuses not on poor women, but on highly educated, very well-off women married to top players in New York City's financial sector. Martin's short New York Times piece gives a taste of her longer memoir, Primates of Park Avenue. An amazing 1969 account of the Stonewall Uprising provides a brief account of the 1969 police raid on the Stonewall Inn, a mafia-run gay bar in Greenwich Village. Patrons resisted police efforts to arrest them, unleashing a 3-day riot that launched the gay rights movement. And finally, 46 years after the Stonewall Rebellion, in June 2015, a U.S. Supreme Court ruling made same-sex marriage legal across the nation, marking a profound transformation in U.S. culture. This final reading on gender and sexuality from the New York Times summarizes this ruling and its implications. These readings are followed by a first set of study questions. Chapter 3 of Renegade Dreams follows the career of former gang member, musician, and seller of bootleg DVDs, Darrell Blizzard Tremont. But because he has left drug sales in the gang life, Blizzard has trouble backing up his claims of authenticity as an aspiring hip-hop musician. After reading this chapter, please answer the study questions 2, that is, in Canvas. The Sunrise Dance takes a different look at gender by following the rite of passage that marks the transition from adolescence to adulthood for young Apache women. According to Documentary Educational Resources, this documentary focuses on the sunrise ceremony of 13-year-old Maureen Nachu, who lives on the Fort Apache Reservation in White River, Arizona, and is a member of the White Mountain Apache tribe. The Sunrise Dance itself is a tremendous physical test lasting 4 days. It proves that Maureen has the courage and strength of character to take her place in adult society. The dance is the strongest commitment a young Apache girl can make to her family and tradition. For Maureen, her family, and her community, the ceremony is a reaffirmation of tribal identity and a celebration of the central role of women in Apache culture. This film is followed by a discussion. One of the primary ways anthropologists look at culture is through language. We ask people questions using language. We read signs and symbols using language. We look at the kinds of things people talk about, how they're talking about them, that is, the discourses that are circulating about a variety of cultural practices that can lead us to worldviews and beliefs and ideologies about culture. Moreover, in relation to Anthropology 185, linguistic anthropologists look at different kinds of language diversity in the United States, including the many discrete languages spoken here, as well as the many varieties of English people speak. In the next module, we turn to language and culture and to questions of linguistic diversity in the U.S.